Hey everyone, welcome to another exciting interview at Concept Design Club at VCU. Here we have not really your typical kind of interview. We have Guillermo Talbott. Is that how you? Is that how you? Talbot? Wow. I'm sorry. um, Guillermo Talbot. He's a concept artist based in Chicago, Illinois. He's worked in the video games industry for 5+ years with a bit of experience with working in the films as well. He's a concept artist with many years of experience and really well versed in doing characters. And he's joining us today to answer some questions. So thank you, Guillermo, for agreeing to do this.
Absolutely, no problem. Happy to be here and answer whatever questions you might have and share my few sentences of my experience.
Well, without further ado, let's just start with an easy one. For those who might not be too familiar with your work or what you've done, if you can give like a little history or brief summary of who you are, what you've done besides everything I just said, and what productions you've been part of.
Sure. Well, like many others, I started with when I was younger. I loved seeing turtles. I grew up in the 80s, watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and all that stuff. And I used to love drawing, but I didn't know I could do it. So I turned 18. I graduated from high school. I decided to move to the States from Honduras, Central America, and to go to school. And that's where, I was there for 5 years in school. Started the internship, and then a whole year of internship for free in Pearl.
Whoa.
Most of my experience right now is mobile games. I've done freelance work for a lot of games. Then some of them either are in production or they've never kicked off. They created. And my art style is very depending on the task. And I felt very comfortable jumping from a very cartoony quote to a very realistic and photometric style. Well, that's enough for if you want me to.
Oh no, no, that's fine. Say as much as you'd like. Though.
And right now I'm working on some parts over at 4 games, and it's an exciting opportunity. I was living in San Francisco, and they offered me a position. I got transferred all the way over here to Chicago, and just adapting and getting used to the weather. And I'd say that it's been a journey. It's worth it. I just try to follow your dreams, find many obstacles, and you'll be able to get back home.
That's really good advice, especially considering like how hard like the concept art route is. It's so like competitive and saturated.
I mean, in the mornings when I get to work, it's like I have my bowl of cereal and then I have art station. I die every time I see art station. It's false. So can you cuss?
Oh yeah, you're totally fine.
Okay, sorry. I cuss like this. They tell me.
We're all adults here.
All the artists coming out. Sometimes I don't even know how people find time to do all this stuff. It's crazy.
ArtStation could be like one of the scariest like websites to go through. Just either that or Pinterest, where you just see art that you've never even seen this person's name before. They're just some part of like some country you've never even heard of, Europe or Asia, and the artist just like blows your socks away. You're like, how did a hand do this?
I know, it's like that guy was like probably watching the thing drawing all day. And I was like, I got it. So, put on there and really cool.
And it goes back into the next one.
I love it. But that's not what for me. Like, I was freelance for 2 years, and I started out like I was in my room. I would go from my bed to my office, bed, office for 2 years. Doing freelance. Then I would go get my coffee in the morning, and I would forget how to socialize. I would be like, good morning. And it was just, I think like everybody has to go through that part where you just have to be 100% focused on what you want at that goal.
That's very true. But the next question is: you say that you're a concept artist at Warhammer Gaming. What's an average day in the life of being a concept artist at a game studio? And how exactly would you define concept art? Everybody says concept art and they have a pretty rough idea of what it is, but there's no real one definition. There's a bunch of different definitions that everybody puts down. So how exactly would you define it, and what's a normal day in the life at your job?
So the best way I can define it is I work on mobile games and as a production artist. And throughout the stuff, I would always have the mentality of the concept art. And the concept art is about coming up with new ideas, new ways of developing either a new game or
a new asset, but maybe a new type of way of playing a game that is already in the public. But when I was doing the production, it was always be this is really cool what you're doing, then go back to doing the copy paste stuff, right? Which is what a production artist does, for at least in the mobile game industry that I know. And now that I'm here at Wargaming, I have to say that it feels like fresh water because you go in and basically you're always trying to think of ideas, trying to bring new ideas to the table. You're not always drawing. Sometimes you'll have to photo bash things because you just want to present the idea, and if the idea is accepted, then we can move forward and develop something a little bit more tied up, spend more time developing certain parts of either a character or a vehicle. But I have to say that working on going from a mobile studio to a AAA company, it's a big difference. So if anybody out there is right now working at a mobile studio and is looking forward to joining a 3D AAA studio, I say, keep fighting for it. Make sure that your mind is in the right place. Go to work, do your thing, go home, stay up until 2 a.m. drawing, and repeat. Because that's the only way until you achieve what you want, right? Because I feel like that's the way I did it. I would always come home, eat my food, and go back to my computer, and now I get to work on what I want. So once you get to, this is going to help you to train your mind, because once you get into this concept world, it'll be easier for you to come up with ideas, silhouettes. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter what they tell you. Oh, we want a tank with a horse on top, and a mice riding the horse. I don't know, something crazy like that. And you'll be like, okay, I'll come up with something really cool, and you'll make it happen. In an hour or two, you'll be able to have a silhouette and a quick black and white, the shades and everything. And either it'll get approved and you move up to the next thing. It's always about creating ideas. Concept art is always about thinking about how can you improve this, how can you make this better, and all that stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I like that definition a lot, because especially in people who newly join the club or don't really have a certified idea, a grounded idea of what concept art is, they focus more on the art part instead of the concept part. And
correct.
With other people I've asked in the past, they always say the same thing, you need to focus on the ideas of what you're creating, not always the most highly rendered, amazing ArtStation worthy post should be considered what it is. It should always, the idea of what you're actually doing, the concept of it should be put first, which, as you just explained, is part of the job of being a concept artist, making sure you pump out those ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. I went through the same thing where I didn't know what concept art was, right? You have an idea, but you don't understand the idea until you experience it, right? And being in this studios, it helped me realize that, this is production art and this is concept art right here. And at the same time, it helped me. I think when you're trying to become better as an artist, you go through this phase where you're really focused on making awesome looking art in order to get those likes and those followers. And I've been there, done that, and and like I feel like just recently I'm getting out of that funk where you just I don't have to make a drawing every night. I have to like spend a day, 2 or 3 days developing a character, and not worry about how well rendered it is. More about how the idea is it a different idea compared to everything that is out there.
Right.
I think that's what you have to ask yourself. Every time that you want to concept anything out, is it different? What does it bring to the table? Is it this? Am I just copy pasting stuff?
Right, making sure those ideas are really solidified.
Yeah.
And going off of that, you mentioned that within your job, you are painting and you're also photo bashing, and I've seen on your ArtStation that you have some 3D work as well. So I'm assuming you're pretty well acquainted with ZBrush and the whole, at least parts of the 3D pipeline. How?
Oh, dude. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to ask, how useful are those skills within your job? And do you think it's absolutely necessary for students to really gung-ho on learning the photo bashing and the 3D and everything in order to get a job? Or should they kind of focus on just what they know and getting as good as they can with that?
Yes. Absolutely. I was... And when I started up, I was not a believer of it. I was like, I don't need to learn 3D. It's not necessary. I can do it. I can paint it. I know perspective. But in the past 2 years, like using 3D in my art has just helped me move the process. It helps the process just go faster, especially right now with environments, for example. If I want to present to my manager, I want to present him, or my art director, I want to give him like 4 different thumbnails. Yeah, I can do them with pencil really fast, but I can just go in Maya, put a box, make squares around the box, and make it look like windows, put a light in there, render it, and I have perspective, and all I have to worry about where characters are going to be in the environment, right? And I just thumbnail done. Here you go. Unless from there, once they pick one, you take it further, tighten it up and everything. That is very important. It all depends. It's like when you have your pencils and your pens and all that stuff before you draw. It's like the same thing. You have your tools. You have your ZBrush. You have your Maya. You have Photoshop and all that. And from there, you pick the tool that might fit best for the task. And I say it's a must. You have to learn it, at least know a little bit of it, so you can feel comfortable rendering something in Maya, or even because I've used Keyshot, Marvelous Designer, which is amazing, ZBrush, and all those just bring something to the table. It all depends on the task, of course.
That's true. With the games that you make at Wargaming, are they typically a lot more realistic, and so they require you to pump out a lot more realistic work at very high speeds?
Yeah, because you probably seen or heard of World of Tanks, and it's all very World War II very realistic tanks and everything. And sometimes we're able to use some of the tanks that they already have. We can render them, and we can just photo bash on top. But other times you will have to do a new idea from scratch. So you would have to go out there and go to Pinterest, right? Look for that perfect image, bring it in, and just photo bash on top. If you sometimes it's very hard because you have an idea of the type of angle you want that vehicle to be on, and you just have to spend time researching that one image, trying to find that right good image. But other times, if a tank that is similar, for example, to the concept that you have in mind, you just take it on from one of the 3D programs, render it, and then you paint on top. So it's necessary.
Okay, that's really interesting. Going from that, actually, so with the speed enhancement that you have with your concept art, that means you're able to turn out a lot more work a lot more quickly. But what exactly is the average time frame for a AAA game project or even a mobile game project? Like, how long do the teams usually take to get things done, and how long do you usually have as a concept artist to turn in assignments?
Well, in the mobile studios, from the ones that I work at, they were very fast paced. I used to work at TinyCo, which is now Jam City, I think it's called. And when I was there, I was a senior artist, and I used to work on either 4 or 3 different projects throughout the week.
Wow.
So it would be like cute animals Monday, Tuesday. Animals, there are different style Wednesday and Thursday, and so on. So you would have to either back there we did everything on Illustrator. That's not vector art. So I had to work on Illustrator doing the vector art because it's the easiest things to like upscale and make it smaller without sacrificing pixel quality.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be like either 3 characters a day. So it would start with a sketch. It would go into Illustrator, do the vector work, and ready for Animator by the end of the day. Now in a AAA environment, it's you get time because they understand that good ideas take time. So sometimes you'll have either a week or 3 days to come out with something, and some of the times, it's crunch time, so you need to come up with ideas like in 2 to 1 day, fully rendered nice stuff, and that's where the photo badge comes in, all the tools you have to your disposal to use. But yeah, it all depends. Like production art is fast, you need it right away, and it should be going to animators in a day or 2, or a day. And in a 3D and a AAA environment, you'll have a little bit more time, but don't let your guard down because they'll throw a curveball at you, and you'll be like, "Holy shit, I need to have this tomorrow."
Oh man!
So you need to keep those skills sharp. But with experience, you'll handle it though. You'll be able to handle it. You will know what to do, and you'll be okay. Here it is, done.
It's just not as like completely scary as everyone will think of it. It'll be like over time, you'll eventually get the grasp and get the hang of things, right?
Yeah. There's I can't remember what website was it, or that people say you have to put 1,000 hours or something like that of work.
Yeah, the 10,000 hours theory.
10,000, yeah. And that's true, dude. Because with those 10,000 hours, it comes those skills where you are going to be able to be like, idea, render, here it is.
Yeah.
And that's where those 10,000 hours come to play. It's not about, if you want to be an illustrator, you'll spend time painting and you'll have a better idea how long something like that will take. And you'll be able to deliver within the deadline they gave. But yeah, you have to put those hours in.
And
it's tough. It's tough because it's tough because some of us, when you're in school, you have a part-time job. You have to go to school. You have to do your homework, and all that you have to find time to do what you like, right? To take those skills that you learn from school and put them towards something you like. So, you just have to sacrifice, man. You have to sacrifice. But that sacrifice will take you a long way, though. So don't stop fucking trying.
If nothing else, take that as the main message of this talk. Just don't stop trying.
Yeah. Don't look back.
Okay. That actually makes me think of an interesting question. So, since you do have experience working in a smaller mobile game company, and now you do work at a AAA company, what exactly did you go through to get your jobs in both? And would you recommend students try for a smaller game company if they're wanting to work for games, or really anything? Like, would you recommend them try to shoot for something smaller and then like work their way up to AAA, or would you be a believer of like shoot for the stars and go with AAA and try to get that job at Blizzard?
This is my story, right? When I graduated, I didn't find a job. I had to go work at an art supply store. I was there for 6 months, and then I got offered a job over at TinyCo. And what I will say is, don't get comfortable, because if you get comfortable, then you don't improve. So always make sure that your main goal is up high. Like, shoot for the stars with your main goal. You want to work at Bungie, Blizzard, or anything, that's your main goal. But in the meantime, you got to work here to earn some cash, pay the bills, put some food in your stomach, and at the same time, keep working towards what your main goal is. But if you say, okay, I work here, I made it, I'm cool, then you're going to stay there. And I feel like you will be able to improve, because I myself have, when I first got my first job, I think for the first year, I was like, I'm set. I'm cool. I got my job. I did it. But after that, I was like, okay, what do I want next? Is this what I want? And that's where I started organizing a little bit more of my goals and started working more on my skills. And at the same time, working at a company, I worked with Emerson. What was his Emerson Tung? He now works at id Software, and he did concept art for the new Doom game.
Ooh.
So, that guy is such a fucking badass. Like, I used to look at his work and be like, holy shit, like, I'm nowhere near that guy, So I had to put my hours. I was like, okay, this is serious. If I want to go somewhere, I need to put the hours and have those goals always in mind. So just don't get comfortable. Keep your goals clear and aim for it. Right. And did that answer the question, or did I went too far?
No, you're good. I kind of asked two questions in one, so you answered the second one perfectly. But
okay, what was the first?
The first one was, how did you get the actual positions that you had in the mobile studio, and how did you get the position in the AAA studio? Like, what did you do to apply, or how did you prepare for it?
Okay. So I applied to TinyCo a while back when I was in school, when they do the job fairs and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I applied to them. I was working at this arts and crafts store. They told me, we're interested in you, but I need to give you an art test. They gave me the art test. I was calling in sick to work. I was like, I'm not feeling good, but basically I was doing extra hard trying to learn Illustrator. I got it. I got the Illustrator files to them. They liked it, and they gave me a call, and I was on my lunch, and they're like, dude, I like your work, but if you don't come today, I'm going to have to move forward. And I'm like, holy shit. And I'm like, okay. And I called out my boss at the time from the craft store. I told him, hey, I'm sick. I don't feel good. And basically, I ran to the offices, which was like downtown San Francisco, and I started working right away. So I called sick to the other job. Don't do this though. Make sure you always talk to your boss and everything. And then I laid down the news. I got a job and this and that. So they were upset, but I got my foot on the industry, the mobile game industry. And I started there as a junior artist, and I was there for 3 years, moved from junior to senior artist. And from there, the company didn't do well. They let go of people. I did freelance for a year, and that's where, I got to, improve my skills, focus more on what I really wanted. And at the same time, do small freelance here and there. And then this one, the one that I have right now with Wargaming, they contacted me actually.
Wow.
I was still living in San Francisco. I was doing freelance. They contacted me in April, and I told them that I was doing a bunch of freelance. I wasn't able to move to Chicago. And I told them, hey, Luke, sorry. I had a lot of freelance going on. I can't go. And they're like, okay, cool, no worries. Let's stay in touch. And then October came around, And I was like, you know what, let me message them and see what's up. And they're like, sure. They're like, well, are you free next week to come over for an interview? And I was like, okay, yeah, sure, why not? Thank you. And I came over, met the team, amazing people with great experience. I feel like I'm gonna, you know, once you go into a job interview and you feel like these people know what they're doing, you're gonna learn a lot from them. That's a good place, and that's what I felt with wargaming. And signed the papers, moved here, which was crazy because I never moved from state. I mean, I moved from Honduras, which was a different country, but I never moved to stay with all my crap to a different place. So yeah, it's, you know, the whole process, just keep your mind set on those goals. Like I can still believe that I'm here working with them, you know, developing all the stuff that we're doing. So yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Like to have a AAA studio contact you for the job first, and you deny them, and then you just go back and say, "Hey, you guys still open?" And they're like, "Oh, what took you so long?" That sounds like a dream, especially for most
I know,
people.
right? Believe me, I was like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Are you sure you're talking to the right guy, right?" And you know what? Another thing that is very important is to be humble, to be respectful. You know, drop ego out the window, man. Like that's the one thing that kills a lot of people when they might have great art, but they're having a big ego and thinking that, oh, I make this amazing piece, so you should respect me and you should give me a lot of money. Like, don't go in thinking like that. You know, go humble, always hungry to learn, and because that's what they want, right? Somebody that's going to be able to listen, that's not hard-headed, and that is going to be able to play as a team player, as a team. And yeah, because if you're a lone wolf, you're not going to make it far unless you're an amazing illustrator, you know, because people are always looking for illustrators to do Magic the Gathering covers and all that stuff.
Right. Because like at the end of the day, especially in a game studio or really whatever studio, during production, like you're part of a team, and they have to like sit in an office with you for hours on end. So I guess it's really important that you have to be likable. Otherwise, they can just not want to deal with you for 8 hours a day, not even including crunch time.
Correct. That's the most important part, because you're going to be actually working in the trenches with these guys right next to you, you know? And you don't want to be like, oh, I hate talking to this guy and I have to work with him. Like, what if you're the concept artist and he's the 3D dude, you know? Like, that's not going to go pretty well. Like, it's going to be miscommunication, and at the end, the lead artist is going to see that you're not doing a good job with a 3D model, or like, you know, giving the guy direction of how to do the concept should be, and it's going to look like shit. It's just, yeah. Sorry.
No, you're fine. That's also really good info, and that actually makes me think, how much communication do you have within like the other departments of the game production pipeline? Like, considering that you're already, like, for some projects, or I assume for some concepts, dipping your hands into ZBrush and sculpting and doing these things, do you get much interaction with like the character artist or the other environment artist, or is it like strictly concept art and then you just help direct the 3D artists as they go? Like, how much interaction do you get on a daily basis?
Well, first, it all depends on the project. If you're working on a specific project and that project has a level designer, a character artist, you'll be working very close with them. And that's where, when dropping the ego outside and being able to communicate with them comes to play, because you can sit down with them, and as the guy doing the level design, you can be like, oh, would it be cool if we put like some stuff here, this and that, and you help improve the level because you guys are brainstorming together. And I guess it all depends on you. You can sit in your corner and paint and not talk to anybody, which is not going to look good. But if you feel like, you have to, I think you have to do that effort of going out there, meeting the guys, see what they're working on. And, as you become a little bit more friends with them, you can be like, hey, it would be cool if you added this. It'd be cool if you added that, And the great thing about working in a big studio like this is that everybody takes your thoughts and ideas to account. You might say something about how a vehicle should have different colors, like this, like this, like that, and next thing you know, you're going to see it in the game. So you do have an impact on how things go, at least from my experience right here. Because in other studios, for example, if you go to work at Bungie, and I've never worked at Bungie, but this is my thought. If you go there, they have Destiny, and they have a language of design and everything that they have to follow. Of course, you're going to be able to change colors and this and that, and share your ideas. But if they go outside that line, the brand that they have, it might not go in or something like that.
Right.
And the same goes for a project that is already stable. It's like if I go World Tanks and I tell them, hey, what'd be cool if we do like, I don't know, some modern looking thing that comes from Mars. They're probably going to be like, yeah, that's not going to fit into the world because it's World War II. Like, it's based on some facts and all that stuff,
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. Does that make sense? I don't know if I went too far with that.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. Like, the interaction is pretty big, and it can actually play a big role. Like, you can't go to the people at Bungie and saying, what would be really cool? Some Overwatch characters. Like,
correct.
You have to means you have influence on the game, which also means that you have to be pretty smart about exactly how you use that influence. Like, how you suggest and how you talk to the people.
Yeah, you can talk about whatever idea you might want to put in, but at the end, like, there's a decision to be made, and that decision needs to be, you have to make sure that the decision fits with what the game that you're working on is, and does it make sense, and is it approved, first of all. But yeah, communication is just important, and don't be afraid of talking to your teammates and everything. Get to know them. Practice your social skills, and and that's something that I still have to improve on, because my first language is Spanish, and like trying to speak in English to other people, I'd be like certain English words that I'll be just like, what the fuck does that mean? I don't know what that means. And don't be afraid of asking, like, what do you mean by this, dude? Like, but yeah.
Asking in communication, very important. Now, how would you exactly weigh the two main skills you need? Because apparently you really need communication skills, but you also need a good set of hard skills, like how well you're able to draw and render, etc. Do any of them overpower the other in terms of importance, or do they basically balance out when you're wanting to work at a studio?
I would say, because for the longest I thought, rendering something out, it'd be the best way to go when it comes to concept. But to be honest, like, I think, like, just making some quick line work and some color and have some, like, shadows in there and all that stuff. It all depends on the idea, really. And doesn't matter how it's always, I mean, if you're drawing it is a human character, it has to look like a human, so you have to know your anatomy and everything. And it all depends, like, on how good the idea is. As long as you're able to communicate that idea clearly, you're good to go. And you don't really need to render it. Like, there's some photo bashing out there. Some of it does not look as sharp as other ones, but as long as that idea is readable and it makes sense, you're good to go. I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah. So basically, what you need to worry about in terms of the hard like art skills is just communicating a good idea, and you also just need to make sure you really, really care about like the social like communication aspects as well. Like you don't need to focus as much on the rendering skills or how good the art is so long as it communicates, and you should really just focus on being a team member.
Yeah. Those are the three. How was it? 3 commandments, 4 commandments of being a good artist. Communicate good ideas, and know your skills and know your weaknesses too, man. Like, and be honest with yourself. If you can't do something, like just be like, dude, I can't do this. Like, give me a day to study Maya, and then we'll get back on track.
I like that, acknowledging what you can't do.
Yeah,
that's something that's pretty hard for most people to do, really.
Yeah, like I always tell myself. I mean, a lot of people hate me when I say this, but I'm like, be honest with yourself. You do some piece of work, you be like, this looks like shit. Sorry, this looks like shit. Go back to 0. And I've done that with my own work. Like I'll draw something and I'll post it on Instagram. Come back 15 minutes later, I look at it and I'm like, this looks like shit. I delete it. And I go back to 0. Because I'm like, no, that looks like crap. And some people, it's very hard for some people to say that with their own work, but it's a healthy thing, to tell yourself this is not good. You need to make it better. You need to study anatomy more. You need to study hands a little bit more,
Right.
Yeah.
All important things to do.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. The next one would be, okay, since you're basically pumping out ideas in our work, like at a really fast daily basis, how do you manage to be consistently creative and productive? Like, do you ever like tire out or burn out, or how do you remedy those things?
Oh man, it's hard because it depends. Sometimes you'll go a week feeling great and coming up with new ideas, and then the next week you'll be okay, but then you hit like Tuesday, you're like, what the hell's going on? I say make sure, I don't know, like look at reference. I would say, like, I always have Pinterest open and I'm always refreshing and looking for new ideas and stuff, learn how to read. Like, for example, one thing that helps me a lot is when I look at an airplane engine or a landing gear or something like that, when you look at it from far away, you'll see the landing gear. But what I would do is that I will zoom into that picture and look at how certain things in that landing gear are built. And from there, I'll grab, maybe I'll spark an idea for something. And that's how I'll go ahead and either add that to the character on the shoulder or a leg piece or something like that, and that usually helps. And make sure to take breaks too. Like if you come home, after a long day, sit on the couch, open a beer, and play your favorite game or watch a movie, man. Sometimes you just need to chill out and let your brain rest or sleep, whichever works best.
Oh my gosh, definitely sleep.
Yeah. But yeah, it's something that you have to, with those, put in those hours and studying and everything, you'll find those challenges where you're either mentally blocked and you can't come up with any ideas. And I think it was Anthony Jones said once, I can't remember, that if you're not able to come up with new ideas, it's probably because you're not looking at new art. You're not looking at something fresh and new. You're drawing the same thing. If you look at just Dragon Ball Z and all you do is just draw as Dragon Ball Z, but you want to draw something different and you can't, it's because you're not looking at something different, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I love Dragon Ball Z. I'm not hating on it. I love it. But yeah, it's very important. That's why the first thing I do is go to ArtStation. As heartbreaking as it is, ArtStation is the best place to feel refreshed and then go into working on your stuff, because you'll find something that will inspire you, that will spark something in your brain, and you'll start putting it on paper. So
gotta rip that Band-Aid off and just look at good art and say, wow.
Yeah. Art session and Pinterest. That's all you need in life.
Yeah, because getting like that constant flow of like new ideas and new artists, just the constant flow of creativity being rushed into you, I guess that can help keep you motivated. I like that quote a lot. Who said it again? Anthony Jones?
Yeah, Anthony Jones. I believe that's where I heard it. I follow his YouTube channel and I listen to it in the background. I put it on in the background all the time. And he's the guru of fucking concept, because he always gives great advice. You know, even if you're a pro, like I don't consider myself a pro, but like if you're in the professional industry, you still need to hear certain advice that probably is meant for people starting up. You know, sometimes you just have to hear it. And Anthony Jones is like the guru of concept art for me, at least.
He really is. I don't know. This is a little off track, but like if you ever like watch one of his live streams and just hear him talk, like the things he says are just so mind-boggling. Like how he talks about in the distant future when you could just think of an idea and it's immediately a full concept art piece, and
right,
people are just gonna create limited like things that don't make sense or don't look accurate, and they say, what's going on? It's because they never really understand the fundamentals of art.
Yeah,
like
we're all gonna be like Picasso, where everybody's gonna just be like, what the fuck are you drawing, dude? Like, what the it's my art. It's just gonna be instant.
Exactly.
It's always good to go back and hear some good advice. You know, and reference. Always look at reference. Look at other artists. You know, if somebody's better than you, don't hate on them. You know, be actually, you know, you just be like, this is awesome. Look at it as inspiration, and you know, do your own thing.
Okay, a lot of students, I see a lot of students really like shun reference, and a lot of students really try to go towards the whole I can be this and this good without reference. As a professional, you can say that you use reference on a daily basis, right?
Every day. I use reference. Like I have Pinterest on my phone, and I look at Pinterest on the bus. Because it's very important to build that mental library. You know, you can have all these images on Pinterest, but if you don't have, you know, if you don't look at them and try to memorize them, like how do you call it? Photo memory?
Photographic memory?
Photographic memory, yeah. Like try to capture them and just remember certain pieces that you can use for an idea later on. You know? But yeah, you have to consume reference. It depends on what you're doing too. If you're doing a human character, look at your anatomy. Look at armor, police armor. If you want to add armor to it, you know, see how that works. You know, if you're doing an airplane, go look at different airplanes from all different places around the world, and that will help like a lot. Because if you do something that you're just straight out of your mind, it's not gonna look either. It's not gonna look good, and it's not gonna look right.
Right.
I don't know that. But yeah, and then you're gonna be disappointed, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, this shit! What the fuck am I doing?" And which it happens.
Okay, reference. Yeah. Keep that in mind. Okay, and one more question, which I'm really interested in asking, is what is the most important skill or piece of knowledge, if you haven't already said it, do you think aspiring concept artists should have? If we haven't already talked about it, you can just bring it up and just really drill how important it is. And if we haven't, what do you think, if you were teaching a class, you would say, this is the number one thing you should know, number one thing you should do if you want to be working as a professional artist?
I would say I would be that asshole teacher that is like, man, he's a jerk all the time. He doesn't like my stuff. I would say, be honest with yourself. Like, where every time if you want to improve, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to have a clear goal of where you want to go. Look at the artists that already made it, and you don't be afraid, look at the artists of today, look at the artists that came before them, and so on. Study all that good, try to consume as much as you can from the past and the today of art. And just be honest with yourself. If it doesn't look right, look at it, step away for 5 minutes, come back, and if it still doesn't look right, start from zero, because it's just going to get better. That's what I would say.
A really good piece of info. Okay.
Go ahead.
You guys have something?
I was just going to say, hopefully that helps.
Yeah. No, that's actually, I think a lot more people need to hear that than anything else, because it's one thing that a lot of people don't do. They stick to the idea of, I can just be this and do this, and not pay attention to the reality of things. But being honest to yourself and truly knowing what you need to do and how you need to do it, a lot more people need to hear that, especially coming from, somebody in a position where they would want to be, than anything else. So I think that I really hope that a lot of students can retain that really well, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and no matter where you're from, like I said, I came from Honduras, Central America, a third world country that the best thing I could do with art is architecture, and shitty one. So just don't be afraid, if your art is good and you keep pushing yourself, no matter where you're from, a company's going to see you and it's going to offer you to come over and work in any part of the world, Though that stuff actually happens, but you just have to be able to push yourself and be honest with yourself.
Yeah. That's true. That's your story, exactly.
Yeah, it's possible. Do it. Just do it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. The next question I actually have is about you personally, not exactly about the concept art world or the job. Mm-hmm. How exactly did you get your art education? Did you go to school or were you self-taught?
Oh man. Yeah. Well, okay. I came to visit the States for 2 months, and one of my aunts was like, "You should go to art school, and you can get, you can get an education, get into the industry." And I didn't know I could do that. And so I went down the path of going to an art school, and I wish we had all the tools we have today. You can learn so much from online, and it's great because no matter what part of the world you're at, you can learn it if you want. If you want to be a concept artist in the 3D industry or movie industry, you can do it. So I went to school, but I would say if you want to work overseas, like from the States to Japan or to Europe or anything like that, some of the companies look and make sure that you have a bachelor's in media arts and animation or any type of art, illustration. But if you are all the companies that you want to work for are here, I would say learn as much as you can from online first. There's so many great classes where you can pay only I think Anthony Jones. Man, I don't even know the guy, and I'm plugging him. Anthony Jones has some great classes that you can just go there, sign up, and you have mentorship. Every week you meet with him, and he'll tell you what you need to work on and everything. And it's just pretty amazing. I wish we had all that stuff back in 2005. Damn, I sound old, huh? But yeah, study as much as you can from online. And if you feel like that's not enough, make sure you find the right school when it comes to schools, you're going to have to deal with loans and all that stuff and payments. So make sure you have somebody to advise you with that stuff, because it can screw you over big time, especially all the crappy schools out there. But yeah, if you feel like you need to learn more, research the school, make sure those teachers that are teaching their art come, or are in the industry, and go for it. Why not?
It's really interesting. I never really knew that international studios required some sort of bachelor's.
Yeah, there's some studios that do require you to have like a degree of somehow. So, I mean, but maybe hopefully things will change and it'll be like, hey, you paint good, you have good ideas, come over.
Come on over.
You don't have to worry about that. Hell yeah. Make it easier for everybody.
Hopefully in the future.
Right?
So you said you just went to an ordinary art college?
So I went to the Art Institute, California, San Francisco.
Oh.
Yeah, don't go there. I'm sorry. I'm telling you to be honest with yourself. I'm going to be honest with you. So you have to research your school. Unfortunately, at the time, that was one of the schools that was like whose name was popping everywhere. And they were like, oh, you got to work at Pixar. Don't worry about it. And yeah, I can work at Pixar if I want to, if I study the style that they work into, because Pixar has a very specific art style, right? Mm-hmm. From their films and everything. So yeah, I could probably get to Pixar if I study that. But they didn't say anything else. So at the end, I was just basically on my own to look for where I wanted to work, and that's where I ended up with the mobile studio. That was my first job. Mm-hmm. So you just have to do, now that with the internet and how developed it is, do your research and make sure you're going to the right place.
Got it. I think people here at VCU is a pretty prolific art program, and the teachers here are pretty good. So I think most people within the club they don't have to worry about it that much. But if anyone else is considering any other schools, that's a definite go-to.
Yeah, sorry. There's maybe your school is not like the one that I went to, but you just have to do your research. That's all you have to do.
Oh yeah, it's totally true. Like, I've heard a lot of just bad things from the art institutes in general, because when I was looking into going to art school, I had done some research on them, and it's the one thing students don't typically do is just see what the actual students are saying about it. Don't just look at the demo reel or take the school tour. Like, go on like Reddit and like see what students are saying, and you just see like 12,000 pages of "don't go here, this is a bad school," etc., etc.
Yeah, well, you know what? With your school, you're doing the right thing, because you're reaching out to professionals and all that stuff, and you're getting the actual stories. And I wish I had somebody like a podcast or something like that to listen to and tell me all these things, But what you're doing is awesome. You're spreading the word, and it's good. So that means you're in a good school, because they're going after the truth of what it is to work in the industry, how to get in there, and what is it that you need to look up after. So,
right. That's like the main goal, to just demystify it all.
Yeah, like it's not all sunshine. There's gonna be some rocks in the way that you're gonna trip and fall. Mm-hmm. You just have to learn how to get back up and keep walking. And that's what they don't tell you in other schools. They're just like, don't worry about it. You'll be fine. Your mom is going to love your art. You're fine.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah.
Yeah. And that actually makes me think. Another question about you personally. What/who would be your artistic inspirations as you developed your skills and went further into the industry? Like, who or what really gave you the big burst of inspiration throughout time?
Oh, man. What was it?
I can think Anthony Jones could be one of them.
Yeah, but you know what? Here's a little story. My mother got me a PlayStation 2 when I was a kid. And I went to the shittiest part of town back in Honduras, and I traded for an Xbox because I wanted to play Halo. And when I got my hands on Halo, the art and the way the levels, the creatures and everything, that was a complete inspiration for me I was like, holy smokes, this looks amazing. I love the characters and everything. And that just inspired me to know more about what goes behind, what should we call it, the industry, And I have to say, like, one of the artists that had big impact on me, Anthony Jones. Oh man, I'm horrible with names, dude. Give me a second. There's this one guy. His name is Faraz Shanjar, and he's he's from Iran, and he did. I don't know if you've seen some of the posters for GTA 5 and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think he worked with Rockstar, and he did some really cool stuff for them. Not completely sure. But he's an inspiration because he knows his anatomy very well. Kind of like, what's his name? Kim Jong? No.
Kim Jong-gi?
Yeah. Like him. He's very talented like him, that where he knows his anatomy, he could probably draw it in his sleep.
Wow.
I'll try to send you a link through chat later today so you can, spread the word of his work too.
Definitely. Like, the posters for GTA 5 are absolutely amazing. I can see why he can be a huge inspiration.
Yeah. Another one is Sparth, the art director over at Bungie. He's freaking amazing. What's his last name? Corey. He used to work at Bungie as well, but now he works at Amazon. I took one of his classes a while back. He did a bunch of characters for, I think, Halo 4. Can't remember. But yeah, sorry, I'm just horrible with like, basically, if you go to ArtStation and go to the pics, everything there is just an inspiration. Like, you know what? Another one is this guy is really like a big inspiration for me. His name is Kaloum Alexander Watt. Kaloum Alexander Watt. He did the artwork for that Alien game that just recently came out. The one where you're hiding from the alien. What's it called?
I think
Alien Isolation?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did all the characters for that stuff. He's fucking amazing. He has like this guy's a good example of how good idea with minimal line work and awesome design like just sells it. It's fucking brilliant, and that's somebody that I look up to. I think if you look at my art, you'll see. Oh yeah, I can tell that he gets inspiration from him. But yeah, I love his work.
Awesome.
Great stuff.
Definitely gonna link each and every one of those artists within the video just to see the work, because the people I'm looking at already, because I typed in the names as you were saying them, like, it's absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's. I'm like, why are you talking to me? You should be talking to these people. But yeah, great stuff.
I actually think it's really beneficial to talk to somebody like not as like, I hope you don't take offense from this, but like supremely rock star like an Anthony Jones or Kim Jong-gi, because it's a lot more, I guess, realistic to see somebody just as a concept artist in a regular studio, such as yourself, whereas everybody wants to be the next Anthony Jones or the next Kim Jong-gi or the next Emerson Tung.
Mm-hmm.
But to actually get some words of advice from something that's a lot more, I guess, close to realism, if that makes any sense. Not trying to say, like, not trying to, like, degrade or devalue what you do or how you do, because your work is still, like, insane. Like, I was super nervous, like, reaching out to you and everything. But, like, the idea of this is, it'll be easier for people to see themselves in more of a situation like yours than ones of, like, the living legends.
No, absolutely, and I actually appreciate that you said that, because that means that I still have to learn stuff. I'm not there yet, so that's good. I want to learn more. Like, I don't like. That's one thing I want to try to do. Even I'm not planning on getting super like Anthony Jones big, but I'm always gonna be real about it. Like, to some, my life sound like an ass, but it's always about being honest with yourself.
Right.
Does this look like shit? Does this look good? How can I improve? You know, that's always important to keep in mind. No matter how good you get, keep that in your mind.
Right. Always really important to know, being honest with yourself.
Yeah. Hopefully that helps to, everybody listening. And yeah, it's been great. It's been a great conversation.
Awesome. Okay. And actually, I have two more questions.
No, go for it. No problem.
One involves your actual workflow. Do you have any tips for like the way you develop your characters and the way you pick out your color palettes? Because your use of color within your work is very interesting.
Yeah. So I basically start. This is kind of like a weird way of doing it, but I start with the stamp tool on Photoshop. I will draw a bunch of weird lines, and then with the stamp tool, I'll start making silhouettes when it comes to character, because then you get those happy accidents where you'll find something that is like very interesting. From there, I'll start trying to redefine the silhouette, make sure where's the shoulder path at, backpack, depending on the character you're building. And after that, I'll take it to I use Autodesk Sketchbook Pro, which is free now, which is awesome. You should use it. It's a great program. Another plugin I should be getting checks in the mail. It's great stuff. And I use that program because the line work that you get there is like ink, and it's not like. Have you ever used Flash?
Yes.
Even though I think it's dying. I don't know. It's not Flash. But basically, with Flash, when you do a stroke, it makes like a perfect stroke, right? Mm-hmm. Well, with Autodesk, when you draw a line, it makes it look like you did it with ink, and it's very nice. But like it has a nice touch to it. So what I would do is that I take the silhouette and draw on top of it, try to redefine everything else, and start doing line work. Once I have that, I'll do a gray, black and white block out of certain parts, the armor and everything. I'll use the gray tool. Go back to Photoshop. I'll use the grayscale tool, and then I'll use the layer effects. So I'll go from multiplier, overlay, until I find something that it attracts me and that I like, and that will be like the base color. And then I can go back to Pinterest and start looking at dresses, start looking at fashion and all that stuff, and try to find something that calls my attention. Yeah.
That also. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna ask. Is that also how you like choose your color palettes as well? Through like the referencing of Pinterest?
Yeah, throughout Pinterest. Like I'm always like, I go to like a shop, like an art book. A bookstore, and I'll go through, look at the fashion books and all that stuff, fashion design and all that, and see what colors are there, and I'll try to memorize them. But when it comes to characters and everything, yeah, Pinterest. Go in there, look at fashion, copy paste some of those images into your folder and color pick, or try to imitate. If you like painting it, paint it. Try to imitate that same look. Yeah, I think if you're trying to, like, using the layer effects is one of the best ways to find something interesting. Play around, make sure to play around with all that stuff. Photo has a lot of tools, hidden tools that you can use to your advantage to come up with something that looks good to you. And yeah, it's all about finding the right way, your own path of how to use Photoshop too. When you look at a tutorial, this is going out of the question, but when you look at a tutorial and you pick up, oh, he used this tool, he used that tool, use it the way he did, but then try to implement it to what you already know. Because things that I have done is that I'll look at a tutorial, I'll throw away what I already knew and basically go back to zero, And yeah, I don't know if that makes sense, but that's something that I have personally dealt with.
Oh no, it makes total sense. I'm pretty sure a lot of people listening can even relate to that personally.
yeah, like make sure you keep track of all the things you have learned and don't just toss them out, because a new tutorial came out.
Okay, and going off of that, are there any like specific exercises you would recommend that you do personally, or that you would recommend to students to do in order to like beef up your skills?
If you see an artist that you admire and you love their work, try to imitate that. You know, but don't imitate it and call it your own. Be like, this is a study, just like you would do a study of any of past artists. You know, but yeah, study. Try. You know what I would do at times is that I would zoom into the picture and try to figure out what type of brush they use, and try to figure out how the line work, how thick it is, how clean I should make my own work and all that stuff. But basically, just study their own work, and yeah, that's what I recommend. Look at something that somebody you admire, and try to copy paste it, and see what you learn from that.
Okay, studies. The very last question I have of this entire conversation is, what are your current goals / aspirations that you're reaching for? Or, yeah, what are your current goals? What are you trying to do? What are you currently trying to reach for in terms of your art, your career, etc.?
Oh man, I would say I need to get better at making my characters. And I'm trying to improve my environments too. I always have like certain companies that I would love to work for, and I have that list of places I want to go. So every once in a while, I'll look at what they're doing, and in my free time, I'll try to, like I said, imitate that style and try to see what I can learn from it, and what can I come up with something new than what they did, and so on. So I think it's just improving your skills. You know, I'm as a concept artist, I like to focus on characters and environments, and certain like gadgets and stuff like that as well. So it's just a little bit of everything. That was a hard one.
No, it's okay.
I feel like I'm still in the middle of trying to figure out what's gonna be next.
No, that's totally fine. If anything, that's good for more students to hear, to know that like you could still be a professional in the AAA industry and still not 100% know what your exact next goal is. You're just trying to get better.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, and as you get better, this is just my own thought. As you get better, you never know where your career will take you, right? Because you plan, but then some even better will come out, and there you go. So
exactly. Okay, well, that's everything I've got for tonight. Thank you so much, Guillermo, for this awesome talk. Thank you for taking time out of your day. I'm sure you're like really busy with all your stuff, so really appreciate you taking about an hour and a half out of your time to answer these questions and helping the people in the club.
No problem, man. I truly appreciate you trying to setting this up, and hopefully the little I know and the rumbling I did helps somebody else.
I'm sure there are going to be endless students benefiting from this video alone.
Awesome. Yeah, this has been a great talk. Like, you even helped me answer certain questions that I probably haven't answered myself. Like trying to figure out what's my next move.
Well, I'm glad the benefits go both ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and with that, I'm just gonna. I don't really know how to end conversations like this.
It's all good.
But I'm hoping you the best of luck with everything, and thanks again for it all. Best of luck with your endless goals of leveling up, and really hope you have a good future.
Awesome, man. Same to you and everybody listening. Like, again, don't give up. Be honest with yourself and your work. That's all I can say.
That's what really matters.
Yeah.
Okay, with that,
awesome.
we're going to end it. Thank you so much, Guillermo.
No problem.
All right, and hopefully see you soon. Gonna link everything. Okay, I'm gonna in this video right here. You're gonna see all of the links to follow Guillermo on Twitter, Instagram, ArtStation, whatever he has. Click those links. Give him a follow. He's amazing at art, and don't forget to reach out to him. Give him a thank you for this video because really appreciate it. And hope you have a good night.
You too, man.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Okay, take care.
You too. Later.
Later.